For more than a decade, the question has never truly disappeared. No matter how often it was dismissed, reframed, or laughed away, something about Heughan and Caitriona Balfe refused to settle into a simple explanation. Fans weren't only asking whether there was something between them, they were asking what it actually was. And over time, that distinction became impossible to ignore. What makes their connection so compelling isn't overt behavior, but consistency. Through cast changes, evolving storylines, and personal milestones carefully kept off camera, Sam and Caitriona remained a constant presence in each other's professional lives. Their interview responses barely shifted. Their language stayed aligned. Their boundaries never slipped. That kind of uniformity, sustained over years, is exceptionally rare. Publicly, the explanation has always been neat and uncomplicated. Mutual respect, deep friendship, shared experience as colleagues. Nothing romantic, nothing hidden, nothing worth dissecting. On paper, the narrative feels complete. Yet the details surrounding it have never quite matched the simplicity of those words. Their schedules overlapped in ways difficult to chalk up to coincidence alone. Long stretches of silence from both would end at the same time. When one was pressed too closely, the other often redirected attention instinctively, without prompting. Observers began to notice subtler signs: a pause before saying the other's name, a shift in tone when the topic arose, a defensiveness that surfaced not when rumors grew louder, but when the bond itself was minimized. These weren't the reactions of people caught in scandal. They were the reactions of people protecting something delicate. What complicates the story further is how carefully escalation was avoided. If there had been a dramatic rupture or a line clearly crossed, it would have surfaced. Instead, fans witnessed restraint layered over familiarity. The absence of extremes made the space in between feel intentional rather than accidental. Industry insiders often describe long-running productions as emotional pressure cookers. Spending years inhabiting the same story with the same partner under relentless public scrutiny creates bonds that resist easy labels. These relationships don't always fit neatly into categories like romance or friendship. They exist somewhere in between, shaped by shared endurance more than attraction. That context reframes many of the moments fans struggled to interpret. The closeness never felt performative, and the distance never felt cold. It felt negotiated, deliberate, and mutually understood. The real tension, then, may not be about a hidden romance. It may be about a shared understanding forged under extraordinary circumstances. Living inside Outlander for so long demanded emotional exposure few actors ever experience. Trust wasn't optional, it was survival. And once established, that kind of trust doesn't vanish when the cameras stop rolling. This explains why their connection outlasted every attempt to define it. Romance rumors rose and fell. Other relationships entered and exited the public narrative. Yet the core dynamic between Sam and Caitriona remained unchanged, as if governed by rules entirely its own. Fans searching for a definitive answer may be asking the wrong question. Instead of, are they together? The more revealing question might be, what did they endure together? Shared history, especially when shaped by pressure, vulnerability, and constant observation, combined people in ways that defy labels. That kind of bond doesn't announce itself. It doesn't seek confirmation. It exists quietly, protected by restraint and reinforced by consistency, and it is often misunderstood precisely because it refuses to perform. As the years passed, the mystery deepened rather than resolved, not because new evidence appeared, but because the old explanations no longer felt sufficient. Something real was undeniably there, yet it didn't fit the narratives people wanted it to fulfill. The uncomfortable truth may not be a secret relationship waiting to be revealed. It may be a connection built on survival, trust, and shared identity, strong enough to endure, but too complex to explain. As the conversation evolved, one realization became increasingly difficult to ignore. Whatever ties Heughan and Caitriona Balfe together was shaped less by romance and more by endurance. They entered Outlander as individuals, but they survived it as a unit in ways few outsiders can fully grasp. That shared survival may be the foundation people keep mistaking for something else. Long-term creative partnerships blur emotional boundaries. When two people are required to access vulnerability year after year, a form of intimacy develops that goes beyond ordinary friendship. It isn't driven by secrecy, but by necessity. In their case, that trust became the stabilizing force that allowed the show to continue under immense global scrutiny. This also explains why their bond never required public reinforcement. There were no grand statements or performative closeness designed to satisfy fans. What existed was subtle and consistent. The lack of spectacle wasn't evidence of absence, it was evidence of control. Psychologically, shared pressure creates a rare kind of closeness. Being watched, judged, and speculated about for over a decade can fracture relationships, or fortify them. Sam and Caitriona appear to have chosen the latter, building a private understanding that shielded them from the surrounding noise. That understanding didn't need explanation. It only needed protection. Silence has often been interpreted as avoidance. But silence can also be agreement, an agreement not to feed narratives that reduce something complex into something consumable. By refusing to define their bond publicly, they preserved its integrity. Labels are powerful and often destructive. Romance demands proof. Friendship invites dismissal. Anything in between invites endless interrogation. By rejecting all three, Sam and Caitriona avoided the trap entirely. Seen through this lens, their synchronized responses over the years weren't about controlling rumors, but about maintaining balance. Any deviation, any personal disclosure, would have shifted focus from the work to speculation, an erosion of the very bond people were trying to decode. What truly unsettles observers isn't the lack of confirmation, but the persistence of connection. Even as projects end and lives move forward, the mutual awareness remains visible, in how carefully they speak of one another, how rarely they dismiss each other, and how consistently respect is maintained under pressure. This kind of bond doesn't dissolve easily. It's reinforced by memory, shared milestones, and moments only two people ever witnessed. That doesn't make it romantic, but it makes it significant. And significance, when left undefined, invites projection. The truth may be that the public has been searching for the wrong ending. There is no revelation coming, no confession waiting for the right moment. The bond has been visible all along, just not in the form people expect. It exists in continuity, not climax. As Outlander nears its conclusion, this becomes clearer, not weaker. Endings strip away performance and reveal what truly endured. What remains between Sam and Caitriona is not unresolved tension, but shared history. And shared history doesn't require validation to be real. Their connection challenges how audiences consume relationships. Not every meaningful bond follows a dramatic arc. Some are built quietly, sustained through discipline, trust, and mutual respect. They don't seek approval. They don't invite participation. If there is a truth to acknowledge, it is this: Sam Heughan and Caitriona Balfe are connected by something forged over time, pressure, and survival. It isn't fragile. It isn't theatrical. And perhaps that is precisely why it has lasted long enough to confound everyone watching from the outside.